What's up everybody, Alex here. Today we're going to be talking about difficult people in our lives, supposedly difficult people through our own perception anyway, and how to handle them. How do you handle difficult, annoying people who encroach on your private space and make you annoyed and bring you stress? We're in that time of the year where we've got family get-togethers and people are in closer proximity perhaps to people that we get stressed around, and people can rub us the wrong way, and we can blame our stresses and our troubles and our problems in our life on these supposed difficult people. Maybe it's a partner, maybe it's a boss or a colleague, or maybe it's a group of people that you're forced to engage with regularly that you feel are difficult and are restricting your freedoms in some way. I think a good way to approach this topic, it's something that I've given a lot of thought. I've got plenty of supposedly difficult people that I've experienced in my life who I now think of differently, as we'll explore in this video. A great way to approach this that has been really helpful for me is to look at it from the point of view of where we sit on the consciousness ladder. The consciousness ladder is the degree to which we could be sitting at a high level of consciousness versus a low level of consciousness. When we're low consciousness, we tend to have low mood, we tend to be in our heads a lot, we tend to be in our worries a lot, we tend to think negatively about the world, we tend to judge frequently and plentifully, and we say that I'm not happy with this, I don't like this, we're in a bad mood. We've had days where we've been in low consciousness states, where we've had more on our minds and we've tended to feel the emotional stuckness of that low consciousness. It's a really helpful way to think of our experience in the world and in our relationships with other people as well. And when we're in high consciousness modes, things just feel better, things flow better, we feel more creative, we feel more hopeful, more optimistic, we've got less on our minds, we tend to be free of worry, at least temporarily. And these are states that go up and down, depending on what we allow to come through our minds and what we allow ourselves to buy into and to kind of hook into in terms of the thoughts that we entertain. And I've spoken about this a lot. Our emotional experience is a direct reflection of the state of our minds. So if we have less on our minds and we're thinking about ourselves less, and we're thinking about how we are the victim in our own lives less, we tend to have higher levels of consciousness. So when we think of difficult people in our lives, it tends to be a reflection of thinking negative thoughts about other people and the other people in our lives. And that's the big difference. We are viewing other people through a lens of low consciousness or lower consciousness when we feel that we're being hard done by other people, and we judge other people as difficult. Because you've got people in your life who you might judge as difficult in certain moments, and the same people, when you're in a lighter mood, when you're in a more light-hearted mood, when you're in a more joyful mood, you can see them in an entirely different light. You can start seeing the good in them. And maybe it's been so long since that's happened that you can't even remember that experience, but it is possible, right? You've had people who you've hated one moment and loved the next moment, and that's very much a reflection of how our thoughts work and how our emotional experience works. And there's a lot of possibility wrapped up in that understanding, because it doesn't ultimately have anything to do with the people in your life that you have difficult people in your life. It's to do with how you respond to things, and it's to do with where you allow yourself to sit on that all-important consciousness ladder. So where am I going with this? Well, the solution to difficult people is to view the people in your life through a higher level of consciousness where possible, and you can control this to a large extent. When you go for a long walk like I've just done, things feel a bit more uplifting. You start to see the good in the things around you. You start to feel more of a sort of spiritual connectedness to things, and that's really what we're going for. It's not to get all woo-woo on you, it's to open up both of our eyes to the potential that comes from viewing yourself as a more connected member of society. When we view people as difficult, we're pushing them away, we're detaching our connectedness. We are demonstrating and reinforcing the sense that we are isolated islands in this world. And it's a very bleak view to have. No matter how difficult seemingly that person is, no matter how much trouble that this person seems to be bringing you, ultimately your interpretation is down to your interpretation. Your experience of that person is down to how you view that person, and it's down to your mind state. So what do we do then? Because I always talk about the fact that, and many gurus and coaches will speak otherwise, and they'll tell you to, positive thinking solves all of this. Repeat affirmations in the mirror about how lovely your supposed difficult partner is in the mirror every day, and hopefully that will do something. It's not really about that. For me, it's about redirecting your attention away from those thoughts that bring you down the ladder of consciousness. We say that again, it's about redirecting your attention away from those thoughts that bring you down the level of consciousness. So right now, you're struggling with people because you are judging them as difficult. And every time you're sitting with them at dinner and they bring up something that flusters you and annoys you, you're looking for that because it's on your mind. You are looking to confirm the judgment that you've got circling around in your mind about that person. So if they do something difficult, you're like, yep, see, that's an example of them being difficult. But you're really just speaking through low consciousness. You're not speaking through your true self, which is actually high consciousness, low egoic personal thinking. So when the solution lies in redirecting our attention away from these unhelpful, mood disrupting thoughts that make us feel annoyed, where's the solution? Well, it's about redirecting your attention to other things. And you'll find that when you have a purpose in life, when you have an exciting project you're working on, when you have a cool mission that you're putting time and effort into, these low consciousness considerations begin to float away. And what we're seeing is when we find ourselves stressed by other people, tends to mean that you are busying yourself with things that you don't need to be. Either that person is stuck with you and you can't get out of the way logistically, in which case you can use their influence, their difficult influence, as an opportunity to relax. That's one thing. But if you have a means to do other things and focus on your business and your projects, that's where you want to go. If you're finding yourself miserable about other people, it's your inner self communicating to you that you are busying yourself with things that are not helpful, in the same way that other thoughts are not helpful. And maybe it's time to get hooked into something else that grabs your attention. Because right now you're obsessing over people that make you stressed. It's not a very good obsession to have, is it? And you'll find that when you start redirecting to other things, gardening, crocheting, building a business, painting, finding new friends, growing new trees, going for walks more often, committing to a new discipline, these other thoughts float away. There's no need for them anymore, because you were previously filling in the gaps of your uneventful. This is perhaps being a little bit presumptive, if that's what's the word? Presuming a bit too much, because I know that every one of us is busy and we've all got tons of stuff on, but you'll be surprised at how much time is taken up in the dim theatres of our minds by worrying about other people, when all we need to do is switch our attention to other things, and those stresses will float away, and you'll start seeing these same people in an entirely different light. You might even see the good in them. You might even find ways to befriend them again and be grateful for their presence, because you're coming from a place of high consciousness. So essentially what we're talking about in a nutshell, to wrap this up, if you have difficult people in your life, see this as an indication that you're operating too much in low consciousness states of mind, which means that you're in your head too much and you're judging a lot. The way through is to raise consciousness and return to who you really are, which is the person behind all of this aggressive thinking. And that will come about through, first of all, letting go of all of these judging thoughts and being in the present moment, yes, but a great way to do this, a great way to kind of shortcut that, is to focus on new projects, new purposes that bring you to life again, that make this low-level thinking stuff far less meaningful for you. And you'll find that your consciousness will slowly raise as you get yourself back out into the world of activity, of creativity, of building cool things and making new connections and new friendships, that these difficult people don't seem so difficult anymore. And you realize ultimately that you're experiencing difficulty because you're creating difficulty in that other person. You're looking for confirmation of this belief. I'm going to leave that with you guys. Hopefully that was helpful. Let's all get along, shall we? Let's all be nice to one another as we head into the festive period. And again, if you enjoyed this kind of stuff, do subscribe, do leave a comment down below with your thoughts and any suggestions for further videos. Share this video with friends, and do like this if you liked it, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, guys.